DC Comics is making a push into the digital realms once more, time recording. This with a new set of series designed for mobile devices. This under the header of DC Go series. It's part of their innovation initiative. This one is taking place on their own DC Universe Infinite app rather than over on Webtoon. The one that has gotten the most attention out of the gate is nothing but, yes with two T's, Nightwing, which has a bunch of the promos focusing on his butt because there's a whole history there. We have a whole video on Nightwing's butt and the evolution of fan fascination with it. While the series is seemingly about that based on the promotion, I can say, having read the first chapter, it's about a bit more than his butt. There's some focus there though. What's intrigued me the most about the outing so far is that they've been pulling in some obscure characters. For example, Harley Quinn in Paradise looks set to potentially showcase the Eraser as a main character. The Eraser, and as someone who genuinely likes the Eraser and has done an entire retrospective on the character, I want to talk to you about it. I'm Sasha, this is Casually Comics, and let's take a look at Harley Quinn in Paradise and how it brings in the Eraser. We did a whole video on the Eraser, but we'll do some cliff notes here. The Eraser is Leonard or Lenny Fiasco, who was created by Robert Kanigher and Sheldon Moldoff, and first debuted in Batman 188 in 1966, so firmly within the Silver Age. He was a villain whose skill set was erasing clues from crime scenes. This was aided by the fact that he had forced himself to become an incredibly observant and astute person. This after he flunked out of college, where he was always messing up and being made to clean the board with erasers. And Bruce Wayne also stole his girl. Absolute eraser when. He was at his most competent pre-crisis, where he came very close to IDing Batman because he remembered what Bruce Wayne's cologne smelled like. However, a lot of his later adaptational appearances tend to focus on the fact that his costume is a bit outlandish, so he tends to be utilized more as a background character or throwaway joke. It can be done lovingly, or at times it can feel more sheepish. And when it came to comics, the New 52 brought him back as a meta, and he had an actual eraser head. When it comes to his original suit and getup, some feel that there is nothing to be ashamed of there. That not only is it just from the era that he came from, but also that with some minor tweaks, it could be kind of cool to be chic. It's so over the top that for some it's fun. But overall, he's not a character that's been overly utilized, which means there can be room to play or opportunities to do something with him. And the venue that chose to do that may be surprising to some, which is Harley Quinn in Paradise. It's written by C.R.C. Payne, who also did the majority of the writing on Wayne Family Adventures, with art by Siobhan Stefan and Kathy Lee. So Payne has a lot of experience at this point writing humorous slice of life fare featuring characters from the DC universe. And also the Wayne Family Adventures could pull in some obscure characters or references at points. It could also get emotional and a bit dark at moments, but overall the tone was lighter. And for this DC Go outing in general, it's already been announced that it's going to have a more slice of life feel or fantasy feel or different genres basically. So DC has been upfront about the tone and audience they are seeking. So if it's not one's cup of tea, it's probably going to be obvious fairly early on. The premise for this series is that Harley Quinn has been dumped by the Joker, and she's not handling it well. Without the protection that being with him afforded her, and because she's been highly destructive and annoying post-breakup, many people are hunting her down within the DC universe. The villain community, the heroic community, just everybody. So she decides to go on a reality dating show so she can become famous and then rich and hence untouchable. That becoming famous will insulate her from consequences. That's her thought process. The whole thing is very tongue-in-cheek, and also there's some suspending of disbelief for the idea that she could even get on such a show without being arrested on the spot, which the comic itself lightly pokes fun at. So everything here already has a bit of a cheeky tone. Oh, sorry, I should save the word cheeky from when we talk about nothing but Nightwing. This is the day Mr. J broke my heart. I took it well. This is a Harley who's not fully over the Joker at all, and she's trying to cope by saying it was a mutual dumping, which becomes a running joke. The way she's reacting does feel in keeping with some of her very early depictions, which for some may be a breath of fresh air, while for others it may feel like a regression or a forcing back to base. It must be noted that this, like the other DC Go works, are operating in their own kind of canonical universe. They're not going to line up with the main DC canon. They're kind of doing their own thing, even if they draw from that canon to inform the work. But it's not going to be a direct reflection. Harley in this is just being a menace. She's stolen Calendar Man's apartment and locked him in a closet. Ivy has to come warn her just how many people are out to get her, which Harley takes as fan mail. I gotta add them to the wall. The Wall, Condiment King, Magpie, Clayface, Bane, Penguin, Black Mask. Look at Condiment King, mattering. She tied him up and brought him on a date that she was forcing somebody else to go on so that he could provide condiments. Although the most amusing reasons that people were seeking vengeance for me was probably Clayface, who was being used as actual clay so that Harley could try and recreate that famous scene from Ghost, the pottery scene. Although the Riddler's death threat was also up there. Harley, I'm the last breath, the final sleep. There is no escape. Your end I reap. what am I? The eraser actually first makes an appearance, sort of, in this scene. There's a note from him which says, "Get erased, sign the eraser." Put a pin in that because it might matter. While Ivy is thrilled that the Joker has removed himself from the picture, she's still very concerned about Harley because of how she's acting out, and that even if she didn't like the Joker, he afforded Harley a form of protection because no one really wanted to mess with her for fear that he would do something. She's really trying to get Harley to understand that everybody is out to get her. Please, they could be here for anyone. Harleen Quinzel, you're wanted for questioning. You see, this is why you have to do the suspending that she'd be able to actually get on a TV show. There are some Harley Ivy hints, but they're not quite there at this point. Maybe that'll be the true love she finds. True love was at home all along, or I guess at Calendar Man's house. Instead of fully listening to Ivy and lying low, Harley decides to apply for the TV show Love in Paradise, which she gets accepted to at the end of chapter 1. And chapter 2 is where we're gonna get to see the eraser, as she arrives on the island, and it's also shown that someone is really trying to murder her. I like that her little lower third says clown-themed sidekick, mostly because that could apply to multiple people. What happens if her and Punchline apply for a show? Do I have a type? Well, my ex exhibited sociopathic and psychopathic behaviors and had delusions of clowndom. Not sure that counts as a type, though. Harley's plan is to win the show, even as the host tells her that you can't really win. That's not how it works. But her plan is to play into her celebrity status as one of Batman's greatest enemies, which is why she's greatly annoyed when Lenny shows up. Hi, I'm Lenny. Am I the last one? And were you just talking about Batman? My name is Lenny Fiasco. I should probably clear up some things. I'm a reformed supervillain. Lenny Fiasco, reformed supervillain. I enjoy that Harley also didn't say that she was reformed. Active supervillain. Also, if you're reformed, why did you send the note, Lenny? I remember the note from chapter 1. Whatever happens, Lenny did it and he erased all the clues. Once an eraser, always an eraser. My codename was the Eraser. Why did he have that with him? It's also more of a headshot than a mugshot, which amuses me. They do give a cliff notes on him that he used to clean up crime scenes, but they also make fun of his old costume, or they have him do it. Although that may be a bit of a joke because the design that they have him in still has so many of those elements. His clothes are still pencil striped, his hair is pink to match what would have been the eraser on top. He clearly still loves pencils. Is this a better update? Does this improve it? Or does he just need to lean into the original look? Maybe they'll have a formal wear night and he can do that. I posted some stills of his new look on my community tab and many of you had things to say. There were several, "Oh no, he's hot," but there were some asking why they yassified him, or some even saying twinkified. His look is very in keeping for this series and the art style, and the hot element is because they're all reality show contestants, so everyone is hot. Pretty much every big name in Gotham relied on me. Some people used to call me Batman's greatest nemesis. Can't be the world's greatest detective if there are no clues left to detect, right? But all that's behind me now. All I've ever wanted in life was to find true love. And even though I've been burned before, I feel like I'm finally ready to put myself back out there. And what better place to try than in paradise? All right, time to vote. Does Mr. Fiasco get to stay on the island? The Eraser plays it like he's really happy to see Harley, and he's glad that she's getting back out there post-Joker. Which again begs the question, what was with that note? Was it a throwaway joke? Clue that this is some kind of long game? Somebody else posing as him? I won't forget that note. The truth is, matching wits with the Cape Crusader is fun, but it's also lonely. So you're looking for your partner in crime? Crime? No. Partner? Definitely. Ew. This is all ruining Harley's vibe. It's harshing her mellow. She thought that she was going to be the only supervillain and she could commandeer all of that kind of cachet. It also seems like this is what the producers wanted, to cause some kind of drama, especially because they show the contract where Harley tried to add in all of these unenforceable terms, like how every episode people had to say that the Joker sucks. However, issue 2, or chapter 2, adds a second hook. Beyond the reality TV shenanigans, it really plays up the whole people are out to get Harley when there's a murder. So now it's also a murder mystery. Who did it? The Eraser. Or he helped. Who did it? Harley did it for the attention. And so the stakes and tone are set. I mean, if you wanted to get dark, you could play it like the Joker did it, because there was one arc where even after they were broken up, he still messed with her relationships just because he didn't want to see her happy. But that's not the tone we're going for here. The stakes and tone for Harley Quinn in Paradise are clearly set. It's very upfront about what it is. And so for many, it's going to depend on whether they think the jokes are funny, whether they enjoy how Harley's being portrayed, or if it's veering into annoying, and if they can enjoy the overall shift in genre and formatting. if it's new to them. These are meant to appeal to an audience who are familiar with webcomics, webtoons, reading comics on their phones, and may also be slightly geared towards those who may be new to that because it's fairly simple in its formatting structure. That meaning that it's doing some very basic things with it. Sometimes these can get very fancy, they can add multimedia elements, it can be a whole production. These are clean, tightly laid out with the structure one would expect if they are familiar with these types of verticals. Oh, I'm using the term now. Reading it on the phone is definitely the way to go. I ended up looking at the desktop version when I was looking to get certain images, and it's just not as nicely formatted. The length of panels is very much set for phone screens. The optimization makes sense since that's the audience they're going for. Overall, the tone is fun, and while Harley is in one of her more zany modes, it's still more focused than some other versions. The jokes feel more cohesive, certain jokes are recurring, they come back. Harley feels like her personality is aligned from chapter 1 to chapter 2. However, again, for some this may be too over the top. They might find her too ditzy or unintelligent or seemingly unintelligent, or they may simply have Harley burnout. Overall, they may have just found the whole thing trite and frivolous. The whole reality dating show premise will also be hit or miss. Some may feel it's too late, that these shows had their heyday and it's over, while others will argue that there are still many that are quite popular on streaming services, and that these days there are certain apps that allow people to re-watch their favorite series, for there are those who re-watch reality television. So for many, this may feel familiar, and the jokes, like their taglines and how seemingly two-dimensional the personalities of the contestants are, may really land. Bringing back the Eraser is a fun moment. These more obscure characters have lots of potential, and they could do something with him. And this is a separate kind of space, there's room to play around. Although some may be feeling something akin to, not my Eraser. Where's my Eraser? It's certainly an overture to a different fan base. And it remains to be seen if it lands. As mentioned, I found it fairly fun, but what did you think? Not for you? Too silly? This ain't it, Chief? Do you feel like verticals can and should be used for more serious fare as well? Are you sick of Harley? Do you like the new look for Lenny? Your thoughts, I want to hear them. Please put them down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time to spend discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.